In 1971, a man built hell on earth deliberately. He built it in a Stanford University basement. 24 ordinary men volunteered for a psychology study. A coin flip decided who controlled whom. Within 36 hours, their moral compasses shattered completely. Good people became abusers. No training required. This is called the Lucifer Effect, and it says evil lives in your situation. Evil is a zip code, not a personality. Philip Zimbardo designed the experiment in meticulous detail. He recruited psychologically healthy, stable, normal men. Every participant passed rigorous psychological screening first. Then randomness alone separated guards from prisoners. Real police arrested prisoner participants at their homes. They were blindfolded, booked, and stripped of dignity. Each prisoner received a number instead of a name. Guards received uniforms, sunglasses, and wooden batons. The costume immediately began suppressing individual identity neurologically. Mirrors showed men they no longer recognized themselves. Researchers call this process de-individuation. Leon Festinger first identified de-individuation in crowd behavior. Uniform wearing neurologically reduces prefrontal cortex self-monitoring activity. The same person behaves differently based on costume alone. By hour 6, guards began inventing cruel rules. Midnight push-ups became a favorite sadistic guard game. Guards denied bathroom access as psychological punishment. Prisoner 8612 began screaming and breaking down on day 2. Zimbardo watched and did not stop the experiment. He had become the prison superintendent in his mind. The scientist was corrupted by his own experiment. He now prioritized the prison's security over human welfare. His girlfriend Christina Maslach visited and was horrified. She said, "What are you doing to these boys?" That question snapped Zimbardo back to reality. He ended the experiment on day 6 of 14. Decades later, he wrote The Lucifer Effect about it. His confession, he was living proof of his own thesis. Authority blinds even the most intelligent ethical scientists. Zimbardo mapped an exact 8-step pathway to evil. Step 1, a trivial, seemingly insignificant first act. Step 2, the target gets dehumanized systematically. Step 3, an us versus them identity solidifies rapidly. Steps 4 and 5, obedience ritualizes into automatic behavior. Steps 6 and 7, dissent dies. Bystanders freeze completely. Step 8, the ordinary person becomes the perpetrator. This pathway mirrors cult radicalization pipelines exactly. Extremist recruiters follow Zimbardo's 8 steps systematically. First, they give you a new identity and uniform. Then they make outsiders subhuman in your perception. Researcher Kathleen Blee confirmed this timeline in extremism studies. Normal people radicalize within weeks following this exact sequence. Now consider where the Stanford basement exists today. Social media anonymity replicates de-individuation almost perfectly. Avatars replace names exactly like prisoner numbers did. Group identity attacks mirror guard behavior from 1971. Algorithms reward outrage, escalating aggression like corrupt guards did. John Suller named this the online disinhibition effect in 2004. People online behave with cruelty impossible in person. Platform design is situational architecture. Zimbardo never imagined this scale. 3 billion people inside one Stanford basement simultaneously. 37% of teens experience online harassment today. Educated adults post things they would never say aloud. The Lucifer Effect predicted this 20 years before smartphones existed. But here is the question Zimbardo asked next. He founded the Stanford Heroic Imagination Project afterward. His discovery, heroism, is a trainable mental skill. The heroic imagination is a real cognitive habit pattern. Training means pre-deciding your response before crisis arrives. The Kitty Genovese case showed bystanders fail without training. More observers means less individual responsibility is felt by each. Heroic imagination training breaks the bystander paralysis deliberately. You mentally rehearse acting before the situation ever arrives. Trained individuals intervene 30% more often in real crises. Oskar Schindler was an ordinary, morally flawed businessman. His situation pushed him toward heroism instead of compliance. Paul Rusesabagina sheltered refugees using situational creativity and courage. Neither were saints. Both were situationally activated humans. Zimbardo says situation decides which version of you emerges. Environment sculpts morality more powerfully than personal intention ever does. Abu Ghraib's soldiers followed the exact same 8-step pathway. The military blamed bad apples. Zimbardo said bad barrels. The barrel, the system, corrupts the apples within it. Zimbardo testified as expert witness at Abu Ghraib trials. Lindy England, psychology graduate, ordinary background, monstrous behavior inside system. 3 forces combined: authority, anonymity, and enemy dehumanization. Those exact 3 forces exist inside every social media platform. The variables match across 50 years with frightening precision. Stanley Milgram's obedience research confirmed this from a different angle. 65% of people administered maximum voltage when ordered. Ordinary teachers obeyed scientists dressed in coats. Costume again. The lab coat performed the same function as the guard uniform. Your anterior cingulate cortex suppresses moral conflict under perceived authority. Neuroimaging studies confirm obedience literally quiets your moral alarm system. The louder the authority voice, the quieter your conscience becomes. Gradual escalation is the mechanism. No one starts with maximum evil. Foot-in-the-door psychology explains every atrocity in human history. Holocaust administrators processed paperwork, never saw their victims directly. Hannah Arendt called this the banality of evil in 1963. Adolf Eichmann was a bureaucrat who organized mass murder efficiently. Physical and psychological distance from harm dissolves moral responsibility entirely. Drone operators experience this distancing Zimbardo predicted decades earlier. Online commenters are maximally distant from the humans they destroy. Restoring humanity to targets is the primary resistance tool available. Step 1 of heroism training. Consciously humanize everyone around you. Step 2. Practice questioning authority before obedience becomes automatic. Step 3. Mentally rehearse resisting group pressure before it arrives. School programs reduced bullying by 28% using these techniques. One trained child intervening shifts the entire group dynamic measurably. A single act of courage creates permission for others to follow. Witnessing heroism raises your own heroic probability by 40%. Heroism is socially contagious in the same way evil is. Your situation is tipping you right now in some direction. Which environments in your life are corrupting your behavior quietly? Removing the costume is a conscious, trainable, deliberate act. Zimbardo spent his life studying evil so we could resist it. The line between good and evil cuts through every human heart. Lucifer's fall was a choice, but situations make choosing easier. You are standing at a fork right now without knowing it. Train your heroic imagination before the situation demands it from you. The basement closed. The lesson escaped and follows us everywhere. We rebuilt that basement and handed it 3 billion participants. Every designer is building a moral environment, knowingly or not. Current design choices point toward de-individuation over human connection consistently. Restoring identity and accountability online reverses the de-individuation mechanism directly. The situation is not an excuse, it is a target. Change your barrel before it changes who you fundamentally are. You can engineer situations that bring out your best self deliberately. The Lucifer Effect has a mirror image, called the heroic effect. The same 8 steps go down, or they go up. The first step upward costs no more than the first step down. Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. Your moral neural pathways physically strengthen every time you choose resistance. That pause before you post is where heroism lives and trains. Place the same person in 2 different barrels. 2 different people emerge. Your workplace may already be running a Stanford experiment on you. 4 warning signs your environment is corrupting your behavior without your awareness. Naming the mechanism is the first act of resistance against it. Nobody gets a pass on situational influence, including the people studying it. 3 seconds of conscious delay interrupts automatic role-based obedience almost entirely. A 3-second forced delay reduced hostile online comments by 34% in trials. Friction is a design choice. Platforms can engineer hesitation just as easily as outrage. His 1971 basement now informs artificial intelligence content moderation systems worldwide. The experiment that exposed situational evil is now teaching machines to detect it. The experiment ended. Your awareness of it is where the real study begins. You move through situational architecture every single day unknowingly. 3 barrels surround most people simultaneously: workplace, platform, peer group. Awareness of the barrel is the only tool that weakens it structurally. These 4 levers control your moral behavior more than your values do when left unchecked. Recalibrating your environment is a more powerful moral act than recalibrating your intentions alone. Trained individuals don't become immune to situations, they become aware of them in real time. Heroism is not a single dramatic moment. It is accumulated micro-decisions compounding daily. Situation is destiny, but only for the person who never learned to read it. The uniform only holds power over the person who never notices they are wearing it. Every step upward is a habit, not a personality, and every habit can be deliberately built.